lang malaman kung nag-recommend bang DOE din na isuspend ang VAT, no? Kasi matagal na po itong panawagan, lalo na ng transport sector, para mabilis po na madama yung relief agad sa taas ng presyo ng langis.
Mr. Chair, even without the war, DOE always stood by the fact that any measure that will lower the price, we are supporting. But we leave it to the economic managers on the recommendation kung ano yan. Because that is, a tax measure is not for DOE to recommend, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. On that note, thank you, Councilman Ilago. We'd like to also recognize the honorable presence of the chairman of the Committee on Higher Education, the Honorable Jude Asidre. I'd like to recognize his presence. Mo pa yung kulop, mano. Before we, just for everyone's, it is 1:24. We said we will go on a break at 1:30 for lunch. The list is still long, but be that as it may, what we will do with upon consultation with the minority also is we will resume at 2 p.m. We will finish one more individual. We will resume at 2 p.m. By then, we will ask our the DBCC members to make their presentation, and we will proceed with the list. So you can ask both the morning session and the afternoon session resource persons, so that we can continue. Otherwise, we cannot go back to the, we have to give everybody a chance to be able to ask questions. So we need to ask one member from the majority. He's been lining up kanina pa. May we ask the Honorable Rolando Valeriano. Manong,
Thank you.
you
Thank you,
promised
Mr.
to make
Chairman.
it brief, because we have one more person before we go on a break. Go ahead.
Akala ko, nakakalimutan nyo na po ako eh.
Makakalimutan ko asawa ko, pero ikaw hindi.
Maraming salamat, Mr. Chair. Unang-una po, I fully support yung Earth Hour na sinabi kanina ni Secretary Garin. Paano po ba ang proseso para ito maging, sabi niya, once a week man lang?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we've already issued the advisory, and we will cascade it na lang, sir, through the Uplift Committee and DILG, Mr. Chair. Pero I think it's every Saturday, 1 hour. Parang yung ginagawa na rin natin last month. So we'll do that monthly para may awareness yung mga tao. We'll do the announcement soon, Mr. Chair.
So soon po, soon, ma-implement na to. Thank you po. Sabi niyo, tama ba 37 days na yung war? I think it's 37 days
34?
na. 34,
Yes, sir.
34 days.
Yes, sir.
During the 34 days, meron po bang dumating pang shipment during the 34 days na crude oil, gasoline and diesel during the 34 days?
Yes, sir. All our usual suppliers, biggest is China, then South Korea, Japan, Taiwan, even, and all others, no? Nag-deliver naman. There are orders na medyo nag-claim force majeure yung iba, but kinausap through our diplomatic channels, nag-deliver naman. And most particularly, the crude oil from Russia also came in. 1.4 million barrels yata, sir.
So tuloy-tuloy naman po. Walang shortage tayo ng gasoline and diesel for how many days? Ang buffer stock po natin?
50 days, sir, ang average.
50.
Yes po.
So nothing to worry po tayo. From today, 50 days, paano po? How do you count the 50 days?
Mr. Chair, every Saturday yung reporting, kinokolate namin. So today is, ano ba naman,
Today is Wednesday. So last
So mga
Saturday,
-3. But during those times also, ano rin kasi, kinukonsumo natin, pero may dumarating din. So nagre-replenish siya. So kaya weekly lang yung ano namin para ma-average.
so last Saturday po, we are assured by the oil company that we will have a buffer stock for 50 days.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And we have nothing to worry with that. Walang shortage, wala po lahat.
I have to qualify lang na absolute na okay tayo. Ano? Kasi depende kasi sa gera yan eh. Ngayon po, may nakukuha pa sila sa Middle East, yung iba natin mga supplier. Yung, depende kung anong mangyari, baka pag nawala yon, at mawalan din tayo ng supply. Kasi ang Korea, China, Japan, Taiwan, all these countries that are our suppliers get their crude oil from Middle East. So, kailangan walang disruption din doon. Or they can find other sources in the rest of the world. So, hindi po ganun ka 100% sure. I would not say that, sir.
Basta po, last Saturday, we have 50 days stock as we speak.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay? Tapos, and the only reason given by the oil company pagka tumataas yung price natin is because that is an industry practice according to them. With that, Madam Secretary, napapansin ko lamang po, kasi di ba everyday gumagalaw naman yung price ng oil. Tama po ba?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Pero ang basis nila lagi, kukunin nila yung mataas sa week na yon and yun yung i-impose nila every Tuesday. With that, wala ba tayong hold dyan o wala ba tayong magagawa? Because of the industry practice. I mean, nag-declare tayo ng state of energy crisis. So, hindi ba pwedeng tanggalin muna yung industry practice? Lahat naman tayo nagsasacrifice maliban sa oil industry.
Mr. Chair, ang averaging yan, hindi yan one day lang, kundi we get Monday to Friday average, tapos ko-compute yan kung ano yung difference from the previous week, tapos yun yung adjustment for the next Tuesday. No? So, averaging siya. Yun po yung namomonitor. So, I think basic question is their practice, their accounting practice, let's say, makes it more expensive for our people. More or less, no? Parang ganun yata yung premise doon na dapat i-adjust natin yung accounting prices nila para bumaba yung presyo sa gasolinahan. Sir, in some parts, I do agree with that, Mr. Chair, but in some parts also, we also need to protect na meron tayong replenishment. So if we keep capping the price, baka hindi na mag-order yung mga oil companies natin. So there's a balance there that we have to be aware of. Para kasi price control ang epekto nun maubusan din tayo ng supply. But what DOE is trying to do is find the balance for that na para may control ka ng konti pero ang supply tuloy-tuloy pa rin na bumibili pa rin yung oil companies ng supply natin.
In layman's term, Madam Secretary, pag mataas ang prices ng gasoline, dapat sila magtaas para pagbili nila sa susunod, meron silang puhunan.
Opo, yes sir.
So, bakit po tayo ang namang problema sa capital nila samantalang they are private companies? Hindi ho ba tama lang na kapag tumaas ang prices ng gasoline, mag-impose sila na another capital?
Yes, sir.
Why will the people suffer o tayo ang magbuhat ng problema nila pag nag-i-increase? Samantala pag bumababa naman yung prices ng gasoline, hindi naman nila binabalik sa atin yung itinaas nila na supposed to be additional capital nila.
Yes, sir. That can be done also. Pero ang risk doon, which kung anong nangyari nung first 2 weeks ng gera na to, mga daan-daan din na gas stations ang nagsara dahil naipit sila sa cash. Doon sa gas stations, hindi sa oil companies na nag-i-import. So, nagkaroon ng disruption sa supply chain. Nagsara. So that's also one thing na ayaw din namin mangyari. And one of those factors is how much the replenishment will be. Kasi biglang nagmahal dun sa gas station ang benta ng oil company, nawalan din sila ng cash para pambili. So nagsara na lang yung iba, sir. So those are factors that we are trying to consider. Pero yun, tama kayo, sir. We need to have a certain control over the prices.
Madam Secretary, parang ang hirap pong intindihin kasi na nagsara yung hundreds of gasoline station kasi nawalan sila ng puhunan pambili. So si Petron, hindi niya binigyan yung gasoline station ng Petron.
No, sir. These are independent companies. Kalahati po out of the 14,000, 7,000 are independent gas stations, not related to Petron, Shell, or Caltex, sir.
when we're talking of independent companies, sila ba yung small player? Unioil, Sea Oil, and
Ah,
others?
part of that, sir, yes, sir.
But they are
Part-
also
pero-
but they are also importing crude, isn't it?
Yes, sir. What I'm referring to, Mr. Chair, are the gas stations na hindi po walang brand, kundi yung mga independent. Sea Oil may sariling gas station, no? Even Uni Oil may sarili. Pero meron tayong mga gas station sa probinsya na hindi related dito sa mga brand na to, sir.
Okay, pero just to inform you, Madam Secretary, sa amin po sa district ko, District 2 ng Manila, mas mura po yung, I think, Philstar, nag-iisa siya. Mas mura, so ba't nagkaganon? Kung wala silang pambili, mas nakakapagbenta siya ng mura kaysa sa mga big three. What is the reason behind? Siguro, is it within your power na para pabuksan ang libro nitong mga oil company na to? At malaman natin kung nag-hoard sila or they are involved already in economic sabotage
Mr. Chair, with
or profiteering?
yes, Mr. Chair. Before the issuance of the executive order of the president on energy emergency, wala pa kaming power on that, and now we have. So kaya last week po we ordered the companies to submit yung mga unbundling ng presyo nila po.
So siguro, Mr. Chair, sa Congress, pwede rin natin pakuha yung libro ng oil company to see to it na talagang walang nangyaring profiteering, economic sabotage, and other crimes regarding dito sa pagtaas ng war. Madam Secretary, napansin ko po kanina, ang isang reason kung bakit tumataas yung langis din, not only the price because of the premium. Ako naniniwala po ron sa premium. Pero nakita ko rin yung isang yung pagtaas din ng insurance, tama ba? Tsaka ng freight.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Actually, nung umpisa, walang gustong mag-insure. Yes, Mr. Chair.
For the purposes of computing duties and taxes, pwede ba nating i-flat rate or tanggalin muna yung insurance and freight for purposes of computing taxes? Para bumaba ng konti yung VAT na binabayaran.
Mr. Chair, the insurance, freight, and premium is dictated by the traders outside
Not the
country.
premium. The insurance and the freight for purposes of computing VAT. Pwede ba natin tanggalin muna siya or ibalik lang muna natin sa dating insurance? Total, ang binabayaran naman po ng oil company is only, hindi naman just the premium hindi naman yung buong insurance for purposes of computing taxes.
Mr. Chair, hindi kasi sa DOE yan, that would be, ang calculation ng excise tsaka VAT is on how the valuation of customs would be,
So sino po ang
Pag
pwedeng
landed
sumagot?
cost niya.
DOF?
Mr. Chair.
Yes,
Your Honor, the importation scheme of most oil companies, it's very peculiar because their total landed cost they already represent that the insurance cost and the freight costs are already included. To be able to do that, sir, we will have to ask these oil companies to itemize in their declaration or in their books of account what the amount of insurance and freight is. The Bureau of Customs has asked them repeatedly for this, for purposes of data, so that it can actually itemize the cost in previous engagement. But they always make it appear that it's a trade secret or it's something that's already included in their contract with their suppliers. So they have difficulty itemizing it.
Mr. Chair, pag tinanong po natin ang oil company, talagang hindi Hindi ba from the DOF or Bureau of Customs, hindi ba pwede naman 3% lang yung insurance?
Congressman Baliano, that is your last question, considering that your time has lapsed. Please answer the question.
Per regulation, Your Honor, it's up actually 2% under a customs memorandum order if you don't provide for an insurance cost.
Yun nga po kaya tumataas kasi ang purpose natin 2% or whichever is higher. Pagka kinuha natin talaga yung actual insurance, definitely tataas yung presyo. Samantalang kung 2%, what do you think, Bureau of Customs? Is it possible na i-planto na lang natin yung insurance tsaka yung freight para nang sa ganun makontrol natin yung VAT? Yung VAT base niya liliit pag kinontrol mo yung insurance tsaka freight. That is the only remedy na nakikita ko para mapababa natin yung langis.
Mr. Chair, we'll
Go ahead.
do, I'm scheduled to meet the oil companies and we can mandate them kung isa-separate ng trader. I think that's a very good idea. It's
Sige
the
nga po,
insurance
at if it is
from-
possible, baka
Yes, sir.
pwedeng tanggalin din muna natin sa computation ng VAT yung insurance and freight for purposes of computation lang. Kasi malaki rin yung matatanggal para ka rin nagtanggal ng excise tax tsaka ng tama, di ba? Tapos yung sa excise tax po, hindi ba possible na upon signing ng President, kung ano man yung natitirang bayad ng excise tax, i-tax credit na lang natin yung mga oil company. Nang sa ganon, once he announced na effective na yung pagtatanggal ng excise tax, kinabukasan, hindi na malilito ang taong bayan, lahat ng gasolinahan, -10 and -6 na.
Mr.
Is
Chair,
it possible?
Mr. Chair, I think that is that what was discussed yesterday in the Uplift Committee kung paano ba yung implementation nito. Kasi gusto rin, I think the President also expressed that na gusto niya pag-declare niya sa pump price na
Yes,
agad.
kasi narinig ko po na it will take a month pa,
Yeah.
uubusin
Okay.
muna
With-
yung
With the indulgence of Congressman Valeriano, my idol, we will have that. We will ask the DBCC to answer that when you make that presentation after lunch.
Thank you,
This is
Mr.
very,
Chair.
very important.
And
Thank you
that-
very much.
Lastly na lang po, that is the reason kung bakit by yesterday, nag-file ako ng bill ko, yung ahon bill ko, para makatulong dito sa crisis natin. Salamat, Mr. Chair.
Maraming salamat, Congressman Rolando M. Ahon Valeriano. Ahon ng Manila. Talagang the best friend of the Mayor Isko Moreno. Before we go na break, nakiusap lang sa atin, part of our independent. He promised to be very, very brief. We now recognize the Honorable Congressman Leandro Lebiste. Go ahead, Lean.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I do have to take to lunch some of my constituents who came to the House this morning. And you might have noticed them when you walked in. They are farmers, fisherfolk, and tricycle drivers from Batangas. And they are eagerly awaiting news if the House will approve any measure to lower taxes they pay, including the value-added tax. And I think the problem for many in the country now is it's now been 37 days into this crisis and there has yet to be any aid given for much of the country, especially for the most affected sectors like transport workers. And yet we are still paying value-added tax every day. So it would be, I think, a more effective solution if we focus on tax reduction when our government has proven to be a little slow in distributing aid to the most affected sectors. So I would like to first ask the chair of the Ways and Means Committee, ang pagbaba po ng VAT from 12 to 10%, sa tingin po ninyo, Chair, ito po ay posible o imposible?
Lahat ng bagay posible.
Lahat po ng bagay posible. And in my estimation, the majority of the members of this committee, if asked, will say they will vote in favor of this measure. Kaya nagtataka lang ako, bakit hindi pa ito naaaprubahan? Sino po, Chair, kaya ang ayaw na ibaba ang VAT?
Pwede natin tanungin later on yun, Congressman Lean.
Sa inyong estimation, Chair, dahil matagal na natin tinatalakay ito, sino ang may ayaw na ibaba ang VAT?
Sigurado ako ikaw ayaw na hindi ibaba.
Tama. Pero you personally, Chair, if speaking on your personal capacity,
Well, like I've always said, as chair of the committee, it is our anticipation always that we make the lives of our countrymen easier and better. That's always our core objective. The more progressive the tax is, the better without putting in danger the fiscal becoming fiscally irresponsible. Yun lang naman ang binabalanse natin parate. Wait, Len, are you asking me or are you asking the resource
I'm asking,
persons?
I think
go ahead,
because
go ahead, go
you are
ahead.
the more important person
Go ahead,
to
go ahead,
answer
go
a
ahead.
question on
I
the
am
approval
deeply
of a
honored.
House measure.
I am deeply honored. Go
Yes.
ahead, go ahead.
But actually, that's my next question, Mr. Chair, which is, if almost all of us in Congress support lowering the VAT, then I think we should just put it to a vote and let the public see who of the 318 members of Congress supports lowering the VAT from 12 to 10% or supports suspending the VAT on petroleum, and let every member's vote be publicly known. What do you think of that, Mr. Chair?
I support that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. But I think it is on the record that in the past hearings, the Department of Finance has expressed reservations on lowering the VAT. And there was a position paper submitted, if I'm not mistaken, on November 18, when the DOF said that it would result in increase of the deficit if there is no corresponding decrease in expenses. But there was a discussion that this could possibly be revised with new Secretary of Finance's appointment. May I ask the Undersecretary of Finance if the DOF plans to revise its position on lowering the VAT, or if it continues to disagree with the measure to lower the VAT?
Mr. Chair, I'll have to consult if we have resubmitted the position paper. I'll get back to you, sir.
So that we're not aware of any change in the position, so we can presume that the DOF is still against lowering the VAT from 12 to 10% for maybe reasons of fiscal responsibility. Would you agree, Undersecretary Adriano?
Mr. Chair, I'm just checking if we have submitted a new position paper, but I confirm that in our previous position paper, we mentioned that we have expressed reservation due to the fiscal implication.
And what is the DOF's position on suspending the VAT on petroleum products?
Mr. Chair, we don't have an official position paper on that yet, but we are studying that proposal.
Is it possible that we will suspend the VAT on petroleum products this year, or is that not currently the direction of the DOF?
Mr. Chair, that would be subject for a discussion of the economic management.
There is currently no plan to suspend the VAT on petroleum products.
There is no recommendation yet to suspend.
May I ask the views on the matter by the Secretary of the Department of DepDev, Secretary Balisacan? Of course, we all know that lower taxes are good if the country can afford it, but the question, of course, is how can we manage the deficit? And I suppose logically we can either reduce expenses or increase other sources of revenue. Do you support, Mr. Secretary, lowering the VAT?
I support any tax reforms that improve the progressivity of the tax system. We have looked at the progressivity of lowering or suspending the VAT, and if your objective is to improve the welfare of the large majority of our poor, and you would want the incidence of the tax to be very, very favorable to the poor, then that is not the answer. So I think that you have to look at closely and who is bearing the cost, and then of course I will support lowering those taxes if you can identify, if Congress can also identify new sources of tax revenue, because the fact is, as we grow, there is a much more demand for public services, quality public services, better transport system, better, so we need more revenues. Of course, given that we can improve the governance for spending, but given that, we still have to think about raising revenues and raising it in a way that is progressive for our society. If you can identify revenues that achieve that objective, I am in favor of lowering taxes that burden our population.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. I appreciate that. It seems, Mr. Chair, DepDev is warm to the idea of lowering the VAT. I really then wonder who is behind not lowering the VAT. If even the good Secretary of DepDev
Mr.
seems
Chair.
to be in favor.
Point of information.
Yes, go ahead.
Well, we're talking about finance. May I just know if the Secretary of Finance will be here?
May we ask Yusek Adriano, will the Secretary of Finance be coming this afternoon?
Mr. Chair, the Secretary actually sends his apology that he will not be able to attend the hearing today because I think he has a meeting in Malacanang today po.
Mr. Chair, napaka-importante po nitong ating pinag-uusapan at malaking bahagi ng solusyon kung mag-aaproba tayo ng bayanihan tungkol po sa finance. So baka pwedeng humabol. Kung sa Senate po, mahabol yung mga secretary, baka pwedeng humabol dito sa House.
Could you kindly inform the Secretary of Finance? We have not seen him actually here in the House, not once. Maybe it's high time for him to be present so we can hear from him personally. I'm sure he's extremely competent to be able to overcome all the questions that will be raised here.
Mr. Chair, we will relay the message.
Okay, thank you very much, Kong Egay.
Yes,
Please,
and
please proceed, Leanne.
And I'm thankful for any opportunity to discuss various matters further with DOF and DepDev. I did want to ask the Secretary's opinion on the possibility of an across-the-board cut on personnel services because in the Secretary's first time in NEDA, I'm sure the budget was much smaller and yet good work was produced. If I'm not mistaken, personnel services in the 2026 budget are now approaching 1.9 trillion pesos, and yet used to be maybe around 1/3 of that. Would you say, Mr. Secretary, that it is possible to have an across-the-board cut on personnel services in government?
I don't think that across the board would be the proper formula because on the one hand, we see significant need for more teachers, for example. The education sector has a lot of problems.
So if we are to remove education, health, other crucial government agencies, perhaps in some other agencies we can have reduction in personnel services.
Yeah, I believe so, that there are probably some agencies there that...
Yes, because I just think that it's hard for the public to accept that we cannot lower taxes when we have yet to see any plan for how greater austerity measures can be imposed in light of the current economic crisis.
Mr. Chair, the current situation now is not just about the crisis. It's also about, even after the crisis, we have a debt that's quite huge, and much of that debt actually was carried over from the COVID crisis, and you have to serve that. You have to raise revenue for that, for the services. And then in addition, as we will try to catch up with our neighbors, there's so much that we have to do to make our industries more competitive, to make our people have access to better services, particularly connectivity, transport. You need revenues.
Yes, thank you,
How
Mr.
I
Chair.
wish that is the focus also of our discussion, how to raise more efficient, more progressive revenues, because by just focusing on reducing the taxes, then we'll miss a big picture. My fear, if I may say so, I express my view here, is that in our effort to respond to the needs of addressing the current crisis, we may be making it even more difficult if we are not careful in the design of such response to getting back to a better and future. And we have had such a long history of being in a crisis, and it took us so much longer to come back to it compared to the experiences of our neighbors. And and that's because we mismanaged the, 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 the fiscal, for example. We ended up with debt that's higher than necessary, and that led to a lot of problems: higher interest rates, higher inflation. And with that, the prospects for us to attract investments will be much dimmed. And if the future that we are seeing for next year is going to be like that, then we have done much more harm to the economy than we tried to do, to achieve for.
Yes, and thank you, Mr. Chair, for highlighting the need for more progressive tax measures. If there is time for an extended discussion with the DOF, then it would be good to discuss this, whether later today or another day. But I do know that time is short now, and I did want to ask one last question.
Kong Lian, that is your last
Yes,
question, please.
a last
Go
question
ahead.
directed to the Bureau of Customs. Can you please expound on how much is lost to smuggling every year? And, well, if I can have a follow-up after you answer that.
Well, there are different data provided to the Bureau of Customs, Your Honor. I think the largest at one point is for fuel alone is about 40 billion pesos. That was before we implemented the fuel marking program that ensured that all tax-paid fuel are marked accordingly.
What about for all smuggling?
Well, UN trade data, Your Honor, in comparing it to the export values being declared by other countries varies. But I think on the average, it's about 60 to 100 billion a year. That was, but there were reconciliation already made by the Bureau, especially with China, which lowered that amount already.
Because I think we were discussing that it could actually be in the hundreds of billions, but maybe this could be the subject of another further inquiry on smuggling. But I just am trying to respond to the need to raise more revenues without further burdening the people and in fact creating fiscal space for further tax decreases if we could clamp down on smuggling at the Bureau of Customs. Because maybe our kababayans don't recognize that the reason we're paying 12% VAT is because maybe 1/3 of potential taxes are not being collected. If only they were collected, perhaps we could be paying only an 8% VAT. If we could clamp down somewhat, then perhaps we could afford to pay a 10% VAT. But according to your estimates, it's closer to 100 billion and not in the hundreds of billions.
Yes, Your Honor. That's on the latest data that being provided. And we welcome that suggestion, Your Honor. In fact,
Thank you.
one of the answers that we're looking for is the complete automation or digitalization of the Bureau. We're trying to wrap up the procurement of that particular endeavor within the year so we can implement it next year. That will answer to a lot of loopholes. And just to inform Your Honor, for your information, Your Honor, the Bureau of Customs for the first 3 months of the year, we've already hit, we're on track of hitting our targets. In fact, we're at a surplus of about 3 billion pesos.
Yes, my comment,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chair, is just
Thank you,
that I hope we
gentlemen.
can look for a way to make the revenues so that we can afford to lower the VAT rate or cut on expenses, because we can't just assert that the country cannot afford to lower the VAT, Mr. Chair, without showing that we've really exhausted efforts to lower expenses, even starting here in Congress and across government agencies, or impose more progressive taxes, as Secretary Balisacan has suggested. And if even after all of these discussions, there is still opposition to lowering the VAT, then perhaps we can identify who are those who are against it and put to a vote the matter so that the public will know who is really against lowering the VAT.
I agree. Thank you very much, Kong Lian, and everybody else. Gentlemen, we need to take a break already. It is 1:28 on my watch. Sorry, it is 1:58 on my watch. We will resume in by 2:20. So we will have 20 minutes. We will request the DOE, the DMV, as well as our guests from NAPOCOR to stay. Just have lunch, please, and then we will resume at 2:20. So is this clear? And we will follow the existing list that we have. So as to all those who have previously asked, if you want to ask again, please have yourselves listed. So the meeting is suspended.